What makes a woman who once cherished every moment with her partner begin to slowly drift away, to feel distant, to lose that warm spark? It doesn't happen all at once, and it's rarely because of some dramatic fallout. It's usually something quieter, something so common in long-term relationships, but hardly anyone ever talks about it. It's the gentle unraveling of closeness, the unnoticed changes in how you interact, the little disappointments that pile up over the years. Until one day she's still beside you, but somehow not really there anymore. This kind of emotional distance doesn't show up in arguments. It starts in the quiet, in the needs that go unspoken, in the moments that slip by without acknowledgement. It's not what you might expect. She didn't stop loving you. She just started to understand what love is truly supposed to feel like, and often it's rooted in the smallest things, not the big dramatic acts, but the simple daily ways we either connect or drift apart. So in this video, we're diving into the real reasons why so many women, especially as they grow older, begin to feel differently about the men they once adored. And more importantly, how you can change the course before the connection slips too far. Whether you're a husband, a wife, or simply someone curious about what makes long love last, stay with me. What we talk about today just might shift how you see love, aging, and relationships forever. And if this feels personal, if you've ever noticed this kind of change, type relationships or men over 50 in the comments so I know you're here with me. Reason 1. The emotional labor becomes too heavy for years, sometimes decades. Many women take on the role of emotional caretaker. They remember birthdays, plan family gatherings, keep track of doctor appointments, run the household calendar. Balance everyone's needs except their own. And at first it might feel like love. It's what they do for the people they care about. But over time, something shifts. They start to feel like the glue, the planner, the manager, and they wonder, why? Do I have to be the only one holding everything together? This is what we call emotional labor, the invisible effort it takes to keep a relationship running smoothly. And here's the hard truth. Most men don't even realize it's happening. To him, things feel fine. Nothing seems broken. But to her, it feels like she's carrying the entire marriage on her back, and the longer this goes unnoticed, the heavier it gets, until eventually, something inside her quietly shuts down. She doesn't shout, she doesn't blame. She simply pulls away. Not because she wants to leave, but because she's tired of staying and still feeling alone. Reason 2, communication becomes shallow. And then silent in the beginning. Love is full of questions. What are you thinking about? Tell me your dreams. How was your day? There's curiosity, laughter, long talks that stretch late into the night. A sense that you're truly interested in one another, not just what you do, but who you are. But over time, that curiosity fades, not all at once, but gradually. The conversations turn into logistics. Did you pay that bill? What time is your doctor's appointment? What's for dinner? And then they stop altogether. No more check-ins, no more how are you really doing? Just routine, silence, and a growing emotional distance that neither of you knows how to name. Here's what many men don't realize. A woman craves emotional connection just as much, if not more, as physical closeness. When the deep, meaningful conversations disappear, when she feels like her thoughts no longer matter, when she starts talking and you barely look up, she begins to feel unseen, unheard, unimportant, and eventually she stops sharing, not because she has nothing to say, but because she's learned it won't be received. That's when something inside her quietly closes. She still smiles, still cooks, still shows up, but emotionally, she's drifting. And the tragedy is most men don't notice until it's too late. They see the distance, but not what caused it. They remember the silence, but forget how long she tried to speak into it before she finally gave up. If you want to reconnect with her, don't wait for her to bring it up. Start the conversation, ask her something real. Then, sit back and really listen. That simple act can be the first bridge back to the intimacy you both miss. Reason 3, the housework never ends. Even after the kids are grown, by the time most couples reach their 50s, 60s, even 70s, you'd think the hardest years are behind them. The kids are grown. The careers are winding down. Retirement is in sight or already here. But for many women, there's one burden that never goes away. The house, the chores, the everyday tasks no one else seems to notice. But her, the laundry still piles up. The dishes still need washing. The grocery list still hangs on the fridge. The toilet paper still magically restocked by her. And it's not just the physical work, it's the mental weight, keeping track of what's missing, what's next, what needs to be done, before anyone else even realizes it hasn't been done yet. Here's what stings the most. She's not asking for a medal. She's just tired of being the one who always notices, tired of doing it all without being thanked, tired of feeling like the house she shares with someone has become her full-time job, long after she was supposed to be done with all of. That studies show that even today, even in retirement, women still do the majority of housework. It's not malicious. It's not intentional. But it is exhausting, and over time those little tasks, the socks on the floor, the crumbs on the counter, they stop feeling like chores and start feeling like disrespect. She begins to ask herself, why do I still have to do everything? When is it my turn to rest? And that question doesn't just live in the kitchen or the laundry room, it seeps into the bedroom, into her heart, into how she sees you. This kind of unspoken resentment doesn't show up as yelling. It shows up as emotional distance, as silence, as the slow closing of a woman's heart who no longer feels cared for, just relied on. And once that distance begins, it can be hard to close again, unless someone takes notice. Reason 4, she outgrows the relationship, but he stays the same. Here's something no one tells you when you're younger. Growth doesn't stop at 40. For many women, it actually starts there. As they get older, something shifts. The kids are gone. The constant noise of raising a family fades, and for the first time in years, she has space to think, to feel, to ask herself, what do I want now? And the answers that come aren't always simple. Many women in their 50s and beyond begin to crave more meaning, more experiences, more learning, exploring, traveling, creating. They want to take a cooking class or write a book. They want to visit places they've only seen in magazines. They want to rediscover who they are beyond the roles they've played. Wife, mother, caretaker. But when she looks at her partner, she sees someone who hasn't changed, who doesn't want to change, who's still anchored to routine, to habit, to the familiar path they've walked for decades. And slowly, she starts to feel something she never expected. She's growing, but he's standing still. It's not about resentment, it's about rhythm. She's evolving, he's not moving, and that emotional mismatch creates a quiet sadness, because how do you move forward when the person you love won't walk with you? She may still love him deeply, but love without shared growth can feel like a cage, not because he did anything wrong, but because she can no longer shrink herself to fit the version of life he's chosen to stay in. And so, even while she stays physically, emotionally, she begins to walk ahead, alone. This is one of the most heartbreaking forms of distance in a long-term relationship, when two people still live together, but no longer grow together. Reason number 5, she no longer feels wanted, emotionally or physically. Intimacy isn't just about what happens in the bedroom. It's about how you look at each other across the room, how you reach for her hand during a walk, how you lean in when she speaks, as if her words still matter as much as they did the first time you heard her say your name. For a woman, intimacy lives in how she's seen, not just touched, seen. And over time, when the compliments fade, when the casual touches stop, when her body changes and she's not sure if you still find her beautiful or if you even notice her anymore, something inside her starts to close. She begins to feel less like a partner and more like a shadow in her own relationship. Most men think women lose interest in intimacy as they age, but the truth is far more complicated. It's not the desire that disappears, it's the connection. Because when a woman no longer feels emotionally close, when she no longer feels desired, when her partner only reaches for her in physical moments, but not in everyday affection, it doesn't feel like intimacy anymore. It feels like obligation, and so she turns inward. She protects her heart. She pulls away, not to punish you, but to protect herself from feeling unwanted one more time. And here's the part that hits hardest. Sometimes she still wants to be touched, to be kissed, to be held, but only if it feels like love, not habit, not duty, not routine. If she doesn't feel emotionally safe, she won't feel physically open, and that's how distance forms. Not because she lost interest, but because she lost that feeling of being truly wanted. Reason 6, retirement changes everything, but not always for the better. We're told that retirement is the golden chapter, a time to relax, to reconnect, to finally enjoy the life you worked so hard to build. But for many couples, especially women, retirement brings an unexpected shift, and not the kind they hoped for, because instead of freedom, instead of ease, instead of shared peace, she finds herself with another job. Now he's home all day, every day, and without hobbies or purpose, without a plan to stay engaged or independent. She becomes the plan. She becomes the one who's expected to fill his time, to cook more, talk more, entertain more, listen more, and instead of feeling like a partner, she starts to feel like the entertainment committee. Retirement doesn't just bring them closer together. Sometimes it brings a kind of emotional suffocation, because suddenly all the structure and space she once had is gone. He didn't mean to smother her, he didn't mean to put everything on her shoulders, but when a man enters retirement without direction, he often leans completely on the person he's closest to, his wife. And while he may see this as closeness, she feels pressure, responsibility, and deep down, something that's even harder to admit, she doesn't feel free. She imagined retirement would give her space to breathe, to explore, to finally have time for herself. But instead, it feels like one more season of giving without getting, and when that realization sets in, it doesn't come with yelling or complaints. It comes with quiet withdrawal, a sense of loss, the painful feeling that what was meant to bring them closer has pushed them further apart. Reason 7. She no longer feels heard or appreciated. At some point in a long relationship, a woman stops talking, not because she has nothing to say, but because she's said it all before. She's expressed her needs. She's asked for help. She's tried to explain how she feels over and over again, and for a while she holds on to hope. She hopes he'll listen differently next time, that maybe this time it will sink in. But when nothing changes, when her feelings are brushed aside, minimized, or misunderstood, something inside her begins to quiet down, not in peace, but in surrender. She's not angry, she's tired of repeating herself, tired of feeling like a broken record, tired of caring so much, and feeling like it doesn't matter. And here's the heartbreaking part. Most men don't notice when she stops talking. They think the silence means everything is fine, that the problems are gone, that she's content again. But in reality, the silence is the loudest warning sign of all, because when a woman goes quiet, it's rarely because she's happy. It's because she's reached a point where it hurts less to say nothing than to say something and feel ignored. And appreciation? That's often the first thing that fades. And the one thing she misses most, not grand gestures, not gifts, just simple words. Thank you. I see what you do. You matter to me. When those words disappear, so does her emotional investment, and without appreciation, love starts to feel one-sided, like a well she keeps pouring into while watching it go dry. At this point, she's not looking for attention. She's not trying to win you over. She's trying to protect her heart from further disappointment. And unless something changes, something real, she may never speak up again. Reason 8. She realizes life is short. There comes a moment in every woman's life when something shifts, not because of a fight, not because of a milestone, but because of something much deeper, a quiet realization. It might come after a health scare, or after losing someone she loves, or simply waking up one day and noticing how quickly the years have passed. And in that moment, she asks herself, is this it? Is this how I want to spend the rest of my life? It's not a dramatic question. It's not shouted or slammed down like a final verdict. It's whispered, internal, private. And yet, it's the most powerful question of all, because suddenly she sees the years ahead not as endless, but as numbered, finite and fragile. She thinks about the parts of herself she's buried, the passions she set aside, the dreams she never chased, the connection she used to crave. And then she looks at her relationship, at him, and wonders, will anything ever change? If the answer feels like no, she begins to emotionally let go, not with rage, not with resentment, but with reflection, with quiet, thoughtful detachment, the kind that doesn't scream, I'm done, but simply stops waiting for something different. She may still care. She may still love, but she also knows life is too short to live it half alive, and if nothing changes, she will. That's the moment when marriages don't break. They dissolve, they fade, and the person who once clung so tightly now slips quietly out of reach. But here's what most men don't realize. It doesn't have to end this way, because awareness is a beginning, and what feels broken can still be rebuilt. So now you've seen it. The slow fading of love doesn't begin with a single moment. It begins with dozens of little ones, the overlooked gestures, the unanswered words, the quiet moments when she needed you to see her, and you didn't. She didn't fall out of love. She just stopped feeling loved, stopped feeling heard, appreciated, wanted. And when that happens long enough, a woman doesn't always walk away physically. She just stops showing up emotionally. But here's the most important part. It's not too late. This doesn't have to be the end of the story, because the truth is, she never wanted to drift away. She wanted you to notice, to care, to fight for the version of you both that once laughed more, touched more, talked more. And if you're willing to be present again, to grow again, to sit with her, hear her, see her, there's still time. Maybe the love didn't die. Maybe it just got buried under years of silence. Start small. Start now. Start with one real conversation and then have another and another, because the distance between you can shrink if you start walking toward her again.